There's a moment that happens in every room, a moment nobody talks about. The second someone walks in and everyone feels it. No announcement. No screaming. No desperate need for attention. Yet the energy shifts. Conversations slow down. Eyes drift toward them. People listen when they speak, and even when they say nothing, they still command the room. Why? Because power was never volume. Power is presence, and most people spend their entire lives confusing attention with authority. You've seen it before. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. The one over-explaining, over-performing, over-laughing, over-proving, begging to be seen. But the truly powerful, they move differently. Their confidence isn't performed. It's embodied. And deep down, you know this. Because maybe you've walked into rooms feeling invisible. Maybe you've shrunk yourself, second-guessed your words, overthought every sentence before speaking. Felt your heartbeat rise while everyone else seemed relaxed. You smiled when you wanted to speak, stayed silent when you wanted to lead, adjusted yourself to make others comfortable. And little by little you abandoned your own presence. But here's the truth nobody told you. The room does not respond to who you pretend to be. It responds to what you believe about yourself. That is the paradox. The respect you crave cannot be chased. The more you seek validation, the weaker your energy becomes. The more you need approval, the more authority escapes you. Because real presence is born from internal certainty. And the life you want, the influence you want, the respect you want, exists on the other side of the insecurity you keep feeding. This is not about manipulation. This is not about becoming arrogant. This is not about dominance through fear. This is about becoming emotionally unshakable. Because the moment you stop needing the room starts needing you. And understand this clearly. Every day you walk through life doubting yourself, you train the world to doubt you too. Every time you silence your voice, you reinforce weakness into your identity. Every time you betray your instincts to fit in, you lose another piece of your power. But today changes that. Because commanding a room is not charisma. It is not genetics. It is not luck. It is psychology. It is discipline. It is nervous system mastery. It is identity. And once you understand the silent force, you will never enter another room the same way again. Your presence is not random. It is neurological, psychological, biological. Every habit of insecurity you carry has been conditioned into your nervous system through repetition. And that means it can be rewired. This is where neuroplasticity changes everything. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself based on repeated experiences and behaviors. Every thought you repeat becomes easier to think again. Every emotional pattern becomes a familiar pathway. Every fearful reaction becomes automatic through reinforcement. Which means, if you constantly hesitate, your brain learns hesitation. If you constantly seek approval, your identity becomes dependent on external validation. But if you repeatedly act with calm certainty, your brain begins constructing a new self-image. Confidence is not born, it is trained. This is why identity-based habits matter. Most people try to change behavior without changing identity. They say, I want to be confident. But powerful people ask, who must I become? There is a massive difference, because behavior follows identity. When you see yourself as weak, your body obeys. When you see yourself as uncertain, your voice reflects it. When you see yourself as powerful, composed, disciplined, your nervous system adapts to match that identity. This is what psychologist Carol Dweck called the growth mindset. People with fixed mindsets believe traits are permanent. Confident people are naturally confident. Leaders are born leaders. But growth-minded individuals understand every skill can be developed through deliberate repetition. Presence is trainable. Communication is trainable. Emotional control is trainable. And then there is another force most people never master: emotional regulation. The inability to control emotion destroys authority. When anxiety controls your breathing, your body contracts. When fear controls your mind, your speech becomes rushed. When insecurity controls your focus, you stop observing and start performing. But the most respected individuals operate differently. They regulate before they react. This connects directly to Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed power comes from governing yourself before attempting to influence the external world. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. That is the foundation of commanding any room, because authority is emotional stability under pressure. Not perfection. Not loudness. Stability. And there's another layer, the psychology of silence. Weakness rushes to fill empty space. Strength can sit inside silence comfortably. People who fear silence often fear themselves. But powerful communicators understand something extraordinary. Silence creates gravity. When you pause before speaking, people lean in. When your words are measured, they gain weight. When you stop fighting for attention, attention naturally gravitates toward you. This is why true authority feels calm. Not frantic, not needy calm. And finally, focus. In a distracted world, focus itself has become dominance. Deep work, The ability to sustain uninterrupted concentration rewires confidence because it trains your mind to stop scattering energy. Most people leak energy everywhere: social media, comparison, overthinking, people-pleasing. But when your attention becomes disciplined, your presence becomes magnetic, because scattered minds create weak energy. Focused minds create force. Now listen carefully. The danger is not embarrassment. The danger is becoming invisible in your own life. There are people who physically survive, but spiritually disappear. They spend decades silencing themselves, avoiding risks, suppressing ambition, living half-expressed lives, not because they lacked talent, because they lacked courage. And eventually they forget who they could have become. This is the tragedy Viktor Frankl warned about. Frankl survived the concentration camps and discovered something terrifying. The deepest pain is not suffering. The deepest pain is meaninglessness. It is the realization that you abandoned your potential out of fear, that you betrayed your future self for temporary comfort. Think about that. What destroys most people is not failure. It is avoidance. Avoidance of discomfort. Avoidance of rejection. Avoidance of judgment. But every avoided moment weakens identity, and slowly fear becomes personality. You stop speaking up. You stop leading. You stop trying. Not because you can't, because you've rehearsed retreat for too long. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, you could leave life right now. Not to create fear, to create urgency. Because one day there will be no more opportunities to become who you were meant to be. No more rooms to enter. No more risks to take. No more chances to speak with courage. And the heaviest burden a human can carry is the weight of unlived potential. Imagine meeting the strongest version of yourself. The disciplined version, the fearless version, the emotionally grounded version. Would they recognize you? Or would they see someone who traded greatness for comfort? Because comfort has become modern slavery. People numb themselves with distractions while their confidence decays in silence. And understand this: fear does not disappear through avoidance. Fear grows through avoidance. Every avoided conversation increases anxiety. Every delayed decision deepens self-doubt. Every moment of self-betrayal teaches the brain, I cannot trust myself. That is why failure is infinitely less dangerous than hesitation. Failure teaches, hesitation corrodes. And the people who command rooms are not fearless people. They are people who stopped worshiping fear. Now the question becomes, how do you build this silent force? How do you become someone whose presence speaks before words do? It starts with identity discipline. Your first hour determines your internal state. Most people wake up reactive. Phone in hand, mind scattered. Energy stolen before the day begins. That destroys presence. Instead, you wake up intentionally. Silence first. No notifications. No, breathe deeply. Stand tall physically. Prime your nervous system. Then ask yourself, who am I becoming today? Not, how do I feel? Feelings fluctuate, identity directs behavior. Visualize yourself entering rooms calmly, speaking slowly, making eye contact, holding composure under pressure. Mental rehearsal conditions reality. Your body speaks before your mouth does. Slow movements communicate certainty. Stillness communicates control. Eye contact communicates self-respect. Stop fidgeting. Stop shrinking yourself. Stop apologizing with your posture. Walk deliberately. And most importantly, learn the power of pause. Before answering, pause. Before reacting, pause. Before speaking emotionally, pause. That pause separates emotional children from grounded leaders. Confidence is built through evidence. Not affirmations alone, you need proof. Create daily non-negotiable actions, small wins, repeated victories. Read daily, train daily. Practice communication daily, challenge discomfort daily. Every completed promise strengthens identity. Every broken promise weakens it. This is why discipline creates confidence faster than motivation ever will. Because discipline says, I trust myself to act regardless of emotion. Powerful people do not interpret failure personally. They interpret it strategically. Embarrassment becomes feedback. Rejection becomes training. Pressure becomes conditioning. You must stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what happens if I never try? Because the people you admire were shaped by humiliation, rejection, criticism, and setbacks. Pressure forged them. Do not run from pressure. Train inside it. Your environment programs your identity. Weak environments create weak standards. Pay attention to who drains your certainty, who encourages insecurity, who rewards mediocrity. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, and equally important, protect your focus. Multitasking destroys mental authority. Single task deeply. Train your attention span. Train stillness. Train concentration. Because attention is power. And wherever attention goes, identity follows. This is the deepest level. You must stop negotiating your worth with the outside world. If compliments create confidence and so criticism will destroy it, your self-respect cannot depend on external reactions. You need internal standards, private discipline, private integrity, private victories nobody sees. Because real confidence is built alone. In the mornings, nobody witnesses. In the workouts, nobody applauds. In the hard decisions, nobody understands. That is where identity is forged and eventually you stop entering rooms hoping to be accepted. You enter rooms already accepting yourself. That changes everything. So here you are, at the edge of a decision, not a motivational moment, a decision, because information changes nothing without action, and your transformation begins with identity declaration. Say it clearly: I will no longer shrink myself to fit into rooms I was born to lead. Again, I will no longer betray my voice out of fear. This is your line in the sand. Now commit to the 30-day silent force challenge. For the next 30 days, speak slower, maintain eye contact, practice emotional control daily, eliminate unnecessary validation seeking, keep promises to yourself, do one uncomfortable thing every day, sit in silence without escaping into distraction, and most importantly, observe yourself. Because awareness creates transformation, then build accountability anchoring. Tell someone your commitment, track your habits visibly. Journal your emotional triggers. Measure your progress weekly, not for perfection, for momentum. Remember this quote: the goal is not to be perfect, but to be relentless, because relentless people eventually become undeniable. One disciplined day becomes a disciplined week. One disciplined week becomes a transformed identity. And one transformed identity changes the entire trajectory of a life. Years from now, you will either remember this moment as the day you finally rosy, or the day you ignored your potential again. Do not underestimate the power of this decision. The world does not need another person hiding their voice. It needs grounded people, disciplined people, emotionally controlled people, people whose presence creates calm instead of chaos. And that person can become you, but only if you stop waiting for permission. The silent force is already inside you, buried beneath fear, buried beneath conditioning, buried beneath years of self-doubt. Now it is time you uncover it. So the next time you walk into a room, walk slower, breathe deeper, stand taller, speak with intention, and remember, the most powerful person in the room is rarely the loudest. It is the one who no longer needs to prove their power to anyone. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more videos designed to strengthen your mind, sharpen your discipline, and awaken the strongest version of yourself. Now go become impossible to ignore.